Did you see the barbaric scenes of violence in the Northwest Legislature on Friday? It was absolutely disgusting to watch. What started out as the typical EFF parliamentary filibustering strategy inside the chamber ended in fisticuffs outside. Absolutely appalling to see so-called legislature security swinging punches and kicking MPLs, pinning them against pillars and choking them, and the EFF's Matsidiso Buzwe bleeding from the blows he took. So granted, we didn't see how the altercation outside the chamber actually started, but regardless, members of the legislature security staff should not be brutally assaulting members of the opposition in the manner depicted in those videos. This, of course, kept a bad 2 weeks for our parliamentary democracy that started with the disruptions during the State of the Nation address, and there are no words for the depths we sank to during the debate into the president's speech.
You are abusing your wife. We want you to stand here in front of the nation,
question must be brief,
in front of the
Honourable
nation, and assure us.
Honourable Malema, if you can just indicate whether you're answering the question or not, so that we can proceed.
I never said I won't answer the question. So I'm reading my speech. No one is going to tell me what to do at what time. I'm in charge. That's why these fools are running around here. I'm in charge.
On a point of order, Chair.
Order, Chairperson.
Point of order, Chairperson.
Order, Chairperson.
Point of order.
Yeah. So all of this has focused the spotlight once again on the legislature's presiding officers, their impartiality, understanding of the rules, and the entire democratic ecosystem. So tonight we assess the state of our parliamentary democracy and the role therein of the presiding officers. National Assembly Deputy Speaker Lechesa Tsenoli joins me now for our opening Gambit discussion. Deputy Speaker, thank you so much for coming through. So, do you agree with me that it's been not a great 2 weeks for parliamentary democracy, whether by way of what happened particularly during the debate into the State of the Nation address, but more recently, those ugly, terrible scenes we saw in the Northwest Legislature?
Yes, I agree. And these are the kind of things we should avoid at all times. But I think your introductory comment is absolutely biased. It brings to question the role of presiding officers.
Yeah.
That's a part of a story that we should deal with. For example, the presiding officers proactively responded to the EFF saying they are going to disrupt SONA by appealing to them not to do that because it would create a problem, it's not allowed, and so on. And then they went ahead and did it. Okay, so that's where we should start. All members of parliament, including presiding officers, should follow the rules. Sure. And employ them. And so when things get out of hand, such as they did in Northwest, for example, that's horrible, including what happened in Parliament with members exchanging personal stuff. That's hectic stuff. It shouldn't be allowed to happen in Parliament. The appeal for decorum is what we have sought to talk to and speak to. We have actually organized modules to try and get people to accept, to understand the rules and internalize them.
So let's talk about the contention that the EFF disrupted the State of the Nation address, right? You're saying
yes,
they had warned that they were going to do that, and they actually went ahead
and did it.
Did that.
Yes.
Did they do anything that was outside of the rules?
Yes. One of those is to defy the presiding officers, inviting them not to go ahead with their plan to disrupt. The presiding officer, the speaker in particular, repeatedly said, your time is no longer available for points of order. They proceeded to continue to do that. That's a violation of the rules. They were contemptuous of Rule 14 that requires of you to listen to the presiding officer when they have said they're going to do so, and so on. That's breaking the rules. They were argumentative repeatedly. That's breaking Rule 14F. That's deliberately prevented from happening, precisely because it is understood that when you do that, you are going to lead the House into disorder.
So let me tell
they
you
did, yeah.
where issues of the role of the presiding officers then come sharply
Yes.
into focus. This is now during the debate
Yes.
into the State of the Nation address. Here's an example that many people cite easily when
Yes.
Amos Masondo, the NCOP chairperson,
Yes.
was now presiding during that session.
Yeah.
The ANC MP, Boy Mamabulo,
Yes.
casts aspersions on
Yeah.
Julius Malema and accuses him out and out
Yes.
of being an abuser of his
Yes.
wife.
Yes.
And when Julius Malema now does the same against the
Yes.
President of
Yes.
the Republic, Julius Malema is told to withdraw that. Why is Julius Malema expected to withdraw that comment, and Boy Mamabulo was not asked to withdraw his comment against Julius Malema?
What is the word? The word we use is that any personal reflection on a member must only be done on a substantive motion. If you do so by throwing it around like Mamabolo did in the House, that's out of order. It's incorrect. Yet the rules say when you find a problem with that, the immediate response for you is to take up that matter with the presiding officers. If you argue it inside the House, if you quarrel with the presiding officer's decision, you are inviting trouble, such as we saw there. So what happens is that the desire to respond to an inaccurate and incorrect pronouncements in the House immediately causes the problem. It is anticipated in the rules.
But that is on the part of Julius Malema. You're not addressing the issue of the role of the presiding officer.
No.
Should Amos Masondo, you've already said that was totally out of order.
Yes, I'm saying...
Should Amos, let me put it this way. If you had been the one presiding over that session, would you have shut down Boy Mamabulo and told him that what you are saying is completely out of order?
I did say, when I argued that when you do that to another member personally, Mamabulo he expressly said so. It's incorrect and it should not be agreed.
So you would have ruled him out of order?
No, let's put me. The context is very different. Of course, when I'm in there in the seat, what informs how I do it is a different thing. I am saying the presiding officer should have acted against him, for example, okay? But he didn't. When he doesn't, the rules anticipate that such a situation will arise and says what you should do. There's a recourse that must be undertaken so that you act fairly.
It fell on the side of the EFF and Julius Malema.
No.
Then point to what they wanted the speaker to rule on, or am I not understanding you correctly?
No, I think, you see, the point I'm making about it is that the rules require that all members, including the presiding officers, must act fairly on matters that come up before them. So in this instance, you're suggesting that maybe Honorable Masondo should have acted when Honorable Mamabulo spoke the way he did, casting aspersions on Malema. And that should have happened,
Right.
That's correct.
So once that didn't happen, once there was no action on Boy Mamabulo, would you agree with those who say that you've lost the high ground to then act against Julius Malema?
No. Okay, the public perception is that. The reality is that we must not apply the rules selectively. We must not justify that two wrongs make a right. It's not correct because it is correctable, okay? Because there's a process. As I suggest that those kind of actions have been anticipated, are provided for in the rules. So if all of us, because the presiding officer, for example, made a misjudgment on the matter, therefore it justifies what then happened next, it's incorrect.
Right.
Yes. So the effect you say will have, we understand it, but it's wrong.
Yeah. For its part, the ANC caucus is complaining as well about some of the actions of some of the presiding officers. One of their complaints that I heard was that whenever they want to speak without being recognized, which is not allowed in terms of the rules, but happens anyway in the National Assembly, their microphones are always switched off, yet the microphones on the other side are always switched on, and the EFF can speak at any point. But also, in terms of recognition, that they raise their hands and they are hardly ever recognized.
The one I agree with is that sometimes where the drama occurs is where the eyes of the presiding officers go to. So often we do not scan the entire terrain to be able to see people and so on. That happens, okay? And it has been raised in there. About mics, no. Mics get switched off only when you have been told that you should sit down and you refuse and you are told your mic is going to be switched off. That's what happens. That one happens. If that one happens, I don't understand how, on what basis would it have happened as a general thing. Yeah.
It certainly was a complaint from the ANC benches. Let's talk about Thandimo Modisa's handling of what happened on the day of the State of the Nation address.
Yes.
On my part, I believe she was extremely patient, and I think a lot of people criticized her for it. But I sort of read into that she did not want to sort of have this situation where the 6th Parliament almost becomes like the 5th Parliament, in that you have now, it seems like there's a threshold once you physically remove members of the House and there's violence and scuffles. That's something that's undesirable for the 6th Parliament, I imagine.
Well, we said even before the SONA that there are things that we are often forced to do that we don't like. They are bad. And that members should not go into the House with a precise intention to disrupt, because they invite us to act in ways that ordinarily we wouldn't like them, for example, to be forced out of the House.
Where's the border and boundary between disrupt and filibustering, which is knowing where the rules start and end and exploiting them to the maximum? As in, you can raise a point of order and get recognized for that point of order. You raise it, it's ruled against, you sit down, and the next member out of your 44 or whatever number does exactly the same for the next 3 hours.
When they do that, when the presiding officer has ruled that I am not accepting any more points of order, when you proceed to do it, you violate the rules.
I see.
That's where the boundary lies. You must, in other words, it is often done, as Madam Speaker did in this instance, often enough. And so they should have stopped a long time ago. An hour and a half, which is what you call filibustering, literally rejected the authority of the chairperson, and that's not acceptable.
And that's what we had for about 90 minutes. Lastly, talk to me about the scenes at the Northwest Legislature. Those can't go unchecked in a democracy such as ours. They have a chilling effect in that, I mean, if you look at the videos, for example, out there, there's no question of a contest between these EFF MPLs and these security people from the legislature. There must be consequences. Are you following up to find out what happened there? Does that fall within the ambit of the legislative arm of government? And I'm not really sure how it all works out, but are we going to see recourse and correction there?
It will happen within the legislature itself, and the process is there. But we do meet as the legislative sector, broadly speaking, where we discuss, and the issues include what we rule, on what basis, our experiences, and sharing what we do and what's correct, what we shouldn't do, and so on. So it will reach all of those forums for discussion, but where decision makings will be done is at the legislature itself.
Sure, but are you ensuring that that happens?
No, this is automatic. It automatically happens there. In the this is one of the delegate design of the system, that we are different, but interconnected and interrelated.
They don't necessarily report to you.
The authority, they don't report to us,
It's a bit tricky because the speaker there, and as a last comment from me, Deputy Speaker, is that we've been reaching out because, you know, if she acted within the rules, she should be happy to come forward and defend her actions. And at the end of Monday, over actions that happened on Friday, there's still been no responsibility taken. But anyway, Deputy Speaker,
responsibility taken
as
in the
them
legislature.
Coming forward to own the decision and say, this is why we asked the security to act in the way that they did, and that's defensible. So we kind of need responsibility, and I accept that it's not on your part.
No, but even if it's not on my part, I think there are boundaries of what needs to be done at the best of times. And unfortunately, the manner in which this is corroborated, what is reported and how it is reported, must be as factual as we can do, so that we address the matter from all angles. The conduct that generates this conduct is important to literally fix our attention on. It's as critical as everything that we do in the House.
Lechesa Tsenoli is the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly. You're watching the State of Play here on ENCA. Stay with us for more after the break.